Hello, and welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Joining us today are Lee Kaufman and Ashley Hejik. Lee and Ashley are with a company called SoyKitty. SoyKitty is a new and upcoming company focused on utilizing soy byproducts to create sustainable, biodegradable cat litter. Welcome, Lee and Ashley. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Sarah, thanks for having us.
Now, if you folks are a regular follower of Feedstuffs 365 programming, you may recall seeing our recent coverage from Commodity Classic, where we caught up with Lee and Ashley, along with the other finalists in this year's Soy Innovation Challenge. Today, we just want to dig in a bit deeper into SoyKitty, how the company is working to create new natural products in the pet space. For those of you joining us, feel free to post any questions you might have there in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're joining us through our social media channels of LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, you can post your questions right in your social media feed and they will come into us and we'll get those to Lee and Ashley. So let's get started. Lee, give us an overview of SoyKitty. What's the company's history? What's its mission?
Yeah, the easiest way to describe it is it was born out of a previous drop shipping company that Ashley worked for. They were buying this type of product that we're formulating in China, where there's a lot of extra byproduct from soy manufacturing and things like tofu and soy milk. And then they were selling it in the States direct to consumer. They had an incredibly loyal following, a couple thousand subscribers. People were very happy and the company was growing, but obviously you can imagine when the pandemic came and supply chain issues started to hit everybody, the cost of containers went up 300 and 400%. They were sitting off of the coasts just waiting to land, and you can't run a business like that. So this is a reinvention of that idea with North American soy, working with farmers to be able to produce that same product that was successful previously, but here where we can control the variables and add a bit more visibility into the supply chain.
So I'm sure you took a look at the market for cat litter, specifically eco-friendly cat litter products. And, as you come up with this product, does this make sense? Is this something that's going to work here in this market? So tell us, what did you find? What's kind of the scope of that? And how is SoyKitty, how do you see it fitting into the overall cat litter market?
Honestly, it's the easiest business I've ever had to be a part of. So I've done investment banking and capital raises for companies before where you have to try to tell a story, but it's honestly storytelling. It's almost complete fiction. This is a market where there's about 75 million cats in the US. 85% of those people are buying cat litter. That market for cat litter in the US is projected to grow at about 50% over the next decade. And these are very demand inelastic consumers, meaning the costs of things go up and they don't stop spending on their pets. So it's a very easy play for us, incredibly easy to justify the expense, the investment, the participation. And we've had nothing but kind of like doors opening in front of us as we've begun to go forward.
Oh, that's always exciting to have that kind of, when you start going into a market, to have that kind of reception. So Ashley, you head up the marketing side of this product. Where are you in terms of the development and commercial rollout of the SoyKitty product?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are currently pre-product. We've been working to find partners that can help us with three main areas: product formulation, supply chain, and sourcing raw materials. Over the next few months, we'll be finalizing our product formulation, as well as kind of costing out our raw materials and our potential contract manufacturers. And we're thinking about in late 2023 or early 2024 is when we'll actually go into production. And we'll actually do that with a Kickstarter style marketing campaign, which will drive instant demand and brand awareness for our product.
Do you see SoyKitty as more of a niche kind of product for the eco-friendly cat owner, or a product that's really going to have a big, broad market base across, all consumers or a number of consumers?
Yeah, originally we thought it would be more niche, but as Lee mentioned, eco-friendly cat litters make up about 30% of cat litter purchases in the US. So what was once niche is now in demand and is growing rapidly. But with that being said, we do have a more premium product because of the quality of ingredients that will be in our cat litter. So our target market will be a little bit more narrow.
So Lee, how is your product going to enhance the soybean value chain, and what kind of messaging are you doing to reach that part of the industry?
Probably answer it by answering a different question, then I'm coming back to that. About 70% of the cat litter space is dominated by bentonite clay, which is typically stripped mined, and then you've got this very heavy, very difficult to dispose of product that you're going to have to do something with. And so I think of all of these families lugging, hefty bags full of cat litter out to their garbage when the garbage trucks are coming by. And so what we're really doing is, one, kind of giving consumers an option of not doing that same kind of environmental destruction when they're buying something, both at the purchase end, which is the actual extraction of the clay, and at the disposal end, where it sits in landfills and doesn't really degrade very much. So that's the long way to answer that soy actually biodegrades. Obviously, it's soy, which means it's completely organic. And the way that we'll use it in the cat litter is going to allow a consumer to place the litter in their toilet, wait a few minutes, and flush it down completely gone. Some of the byproducts that are currently in soy processing aren't always used as completely value-added products. Some of them go towards animal feed, which is obviously helpful in the growing of meat for our population. Some of them actually get destroyed completely. And so we're looking at all of the different byproducts that we might be able to use, both to add value and also to reclaim something that may actually be currently destroyed.
Now, I imagine scaling up production at some point, you have to look at, how you're going to go about that. Is that a big product is that a big challenge for a product in this market? Talk to us about how SoyKitty is going to make sure it's securing a supply of soy on a regular basis. How do you work with the soy industry in that capacity? Lee, you want to grab that?
Ashley?
You can grab that, Lee. Go ahead.
So we've begun talking to contract manufacturers, and what we've learned is we're an incredibly small player. They're talking in terms sometimes of 100 tons or thousands of tons. That's not going to be our business model. We're much more boutique and specifically focused on kind of a middle and upper income class person who resides in cities. And so we've already found partners for manufacturing who could easily handle our tonnage in the first couple of years without even blinking an eye. We're starting to tap into the supply chain for the raw materials right now, and already finding partners who can supply us everything that we need to scale up for the first couple of years. So because it's more of a niche product, because our output isn't going to be on the order of a tidy cat, we're going to be able to find all of the players that are going to be able to help us scale.
So along those lines, how will your cat litter product enhance value for the soy players that you're working with and across the broader value chain? Have you looked at that, Lee?
Soy's kind of like gotten a bad rap, partly because of some of the perceptions around hormone dysregulation in the food side, which has since been negated. And I think that there are other grains that have been growing in popularity more recently. I like the idea of a partnership where there's a farmer holding a cat. It's just kind of like my thing. And so I think that there's a warmer, fuzzier relationship that people will have with the idea of soy. Maybe they don't buy it copiously in their house for food consumption, because we know 96, 98% of soy is grown for things other than people consuming it. But because people are helping to support the industry in other ways, in secondary ways, the more friendly, the more comfortable a relationship they have with soy and soy farmers, I think it's kind of a win for everybody.
So Ashley, that that fuzzy messaging that we're talking about in cats, see how that goes together. How much are you going to play up soybeans, the soybean aspect of SoyKitty, in its composition when you do go about rolling this out to the market? Is that going to be a big part of what you're pushing?
Absolutely. Soy fiber is an amazing, it could be the best or one of the best materials for cat litter in terms both of functionality and sustainability. Better than clay, better than corn, silica, wheat, any other cat litter basically out there. And so to answer your question, yeah, it's going to be a huge part of our messaging and a huge part of our story.
And I see you've got a test candidate there in the back sitting on top of your cat pole. so,
Definitely.
so Lee, when you go, does cat litter, does it have to go through any kind of regulatory approval? Is there anything that you have to do on that side of the equation as you roll out a product like this?
Yeah, so our sense was no, but we went out to our contract manufacturer who works with a number of different types of cat litter just to confirm that. And there's no regulatory process, but that doesn't mean that our company isn't going to do further testing and screening of the final product, just so that we can show to our customers the visibility in the ingredient supply chain that we have.
Have you taken a look, Lee, at done like a comparison, one of those environmental footprints perhaps, or something where you're saying, hey, here's what, the footprint that we would have with SoyKitty versus your clay type cat litters. Have you gone to that extent yet at this point?
We haven't done a full kind of carbon analysis. Those are expensive. And we already know that what we're going to find out is taking a product that's easily regrown and replenishes carbon in the soil is going to be better than clay, which doesn't actually have a disposal technique whatsoever. And so we haven't done the actual kind of nuts and bolts analysis on that, but it's pretty clear both to the consumers and to the people making these eco-friendly options that the consumer understands and prefers, or is beginning to prefer, to buy those things that are compostable, biodegradable, and organic.
So Ashley, where can folks go to learn about SoyKitty? Is there a place now, or do we need to wait a little more till you get further in the rollout phase? What's kind of your advice on keeping track of when you can start getting SoyKitty if you're interested?
Yeah, the best place to stay informed is actually our website. It's www.soykitty.com. You'll be able to keep track of how the business is progressing, when we're launching, and then within the next few months, we'll start posting really educational information about all things cat care and eco-friendly. So keep in touch and go to soykitty.com.
Lee, any closing comments you'd like to leave our viewers with today on SoyKitty?
Well, first of all, it's nice to see you again since we saw each other in Orlando. And it's not often that we have a platform to be able to talk about things that we're doing. And so we appreciate you being able to give us that chance to talk to some of your subscribers about the project that we have. I think when I imagine the type of people that might be watching this, I imagine there are professionals in the ag space, people that might own businesses or invest in businesses, who are interested in how these kinds of things directly impact farmers. I think our company is squarely in the middle of all of that stuff, trying to connect with American soy farmers to build a product that's highly in demand, that solves a problem. Ashley always talks about doing this Shark Tank pitch where we walk in and we hold our nose because of the strong ammonia smell, just to know that you're walking into a house that has a cat. That's the problem that we aim to solve directly, but by working with people in the US who are growing soy, that it's going to help our product.
So what's your vision for SoyKitty as a company, long term and maybe 5 years out, longer term? Lee, do you have thoughts on that?
I can walk you through. I want to answer it in a couple of different ways. One, I want to say that we have a lot of things to do in the near term. We have to stay focused, otherwise we're not going to be able to get to do those dreaming things that you do with businesses once they hit their stride. I think we'd like to get back to a couple thousand subscribers within the next 24 months for sure. That's going to give us enough information that we can begin to refine formulation and make sure we're providing something that's exactly what the consumer wants. At that point, we may go from direct to consumer and expand into other wholesale channels, though we don't want to take away from our core competency when we do that. There's always a potential with these kinds of businesses. There's a lot of acquisition in the pet space. I think we would be the kind of company that would be great for a portfolio of someone who held companies like that in the pet world. But that's a dreaming answer. The short-term answer is we have a lot of work to do, very specific work to do to be able to make this all come to fruition. And that's what we're focused on right now.
Very good. Yes, our viewers always like to know and understand, how these new products and new ways that what they're growing can find new uses out in the consumer sector. So our thanks to you, Lee and Ashley, for your time today. Lee and Ashley are with SoyKitty, an up-and-coming cat litter company based around soy as the main ingredient. Thank you all for joining us here today. We appreciate your time and attention. A reminder that all Feedstuffs 365 sessions are available in on demand at any time on feedstuffs365.com. Until next time, for Feedstuffs 365, I'm Sarah Muirhead.